Here's what's on this episode of Formula World. As always, you can find timestamps for these stories in the description or as a pinned comment. First up on Formula World, new McLaren front wing. McLaren's much anticipated B-Spec car has been unveiled in Barcelona, and there have been some radical changes to the car, including new side pods and deflector, a new floor, new diffuser, new parts of the wings, and most strikingly, a new nose. Here you can see a comparison between the old nose on the left and the new nose on the right. When Alonso was asked what he expected from the car which carries so many updates, he simply responded, "Faster car." And when asked if he would elaborate, he cheekily replied, "You wish." But Alonso knows that there isn't going to be an overnight fix, and admits that playing catch-up takes time. We know there is no magic bullet that will propel us to the front of the grid overnight. There has been a lot of work happening at the factory, and there is still a lot of work to do. FIA wants DRS gone. DRS is a controversial part of F1 that is bound to spark conversation. Some love it and some hate it. Others see it as a means to an end. FIA single-seater technical chief Nikolas Tombazis is one of the latter, but is aiming to make it redundant with the new regulations that are being laid down for 2021 and beyond. It is right that there is this underlying discomfort with DRS, and I share it as well. I know Ross Brawn has made similar comments, and so on. We feel that DRS is the right thing to have in the present state of things. For 2021, we hope that the cars will be much more able to follow each other closely, and it will be a really nice outcome if we can severely decrease DRS in the future or even eliminate it. But until then, I would call it a necessary evil perhaps at the moment. 2019 F1 cars 1.5 seconds slower. Given that cars are currently struggling to follow each other closely due to the turbulent air, the teams have come together and agreed on a set of modifications for 2019 that aim to make it easier to race closely by simplifying elements of the front wing and introducing a deeper, wider rear wing. But these changes come at a cost, and FIA single-seat director Nikolas Tombazis believes cars will be up to 1.5 seconds slower than the current cars. We expect this rule change to be approximately halfway to 1/3 less performance than the delta between 2016 and 2017, so we expect to lose about 1.5 seconds maybe. Our expectation, if we didn't do this rule change, is that for 2019 and 2020 it would be gradually getting worse, so part of the rule change was to stop that. Miami Grand Prix set for 2019 debut. The new owners of Formula One have made it clear that they want to increase their presence in the US, and indeed across the globe. And Formula One Commercial Managing Director Sean Bratches has just announced that the Miami Grand Prix proposal has been given the green light and is set to make its debut next year. With the unanimous vote, we are very pleased to have received preliminary approval towards bringing a Formula One Grand Prix to Miami. The exact timing of a Formula One Miami Grand Prix would be a matter for further discussion between F1, the FIA and the Miami authorities, but we hope at this stage that the inaugural race will take place in October 2019. A proposed track layout has been released and has received mixed reviews from pundits. Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton isn't sold on the layout and believes drivers should be consulted when it comes to track design. I don't get why you haven't got any of the top racing drivers ever in history who have ever designed a racetrack. I don't want to make an assumption before we've even driven it, but I'm sure we could give some good insight into what the layout's like and how it could be better. Miami is a super cool place, and I was very excited to hear about it, and then I saw the layout. I know Miami quite well. There's a few better locations to put the track, for example. Verstappen won't change his style. Verstappen is known for his brazen racecraft, but recently he's been receiving more criticism than praise, which has led to many speculating that perhaps he should tone it down. But Verstappen is steadfast and believes if he were to change his style, he would be racing at the back of the field. Of course, you can be a bit more careful. However, the consequence of that would be that you'll be driving at the back of the grid because you'll be a lot slower. That's why most people who make remarks like that aren't F1 drivers. And it's easy to say too for former drivers. Ricciardo responds to Shoey trademark. Daniel Ricciardo coined his famous Shoey, whereby he fills his race boot with champagne after a race and downs it on the podium. But recently, the Formula One group were granted the trademark for the term Shoey for the use relating to flasks, mugs, bottles and the like. Ricciardo was recently asked about his thoughts on the F1 group trademarking his phrase in action and responded in his usual jocular manner. I heard something about that. To be honest, I stayed off the internet for pretty much the whole time. But they trademarked the Shoey? I don't know what that means. Can I still do it, or are they going to fine me every time? I'll take my helmet up there and do a helmety or something. I'll find out more about that. Hopefully they're not trying to stitch me up. Fast Feed. Here's a new segment I'm trialing for the first time. Fast Feed. It's a short segment loaded with stories that didn't quite make the cut for a full feature in the video that I still think are worth sharing with you guys. So here is this episode's Fast Feed. Halo graphics are here to stay. Fan Vision makes a return to F1 after 5 years. Vettel insists he is not worried and that Ferrari can win in Spain. Raikkonen shares his teammate's sentiment and says we expect to be at least up there in the fight. Verstappen believes the Spanish Grand Prix could be season-defining, and Kubica is taking part in FP1 in place of Sirotkin. Williams are interested in Kubica's feedback on their significant upgrades brought to Barcelona, and Perez believes his results speak for themselves in regards to his hopes for moving up to a top team in the near future, and F1 TV Pro launches. Formula World fans react. Is F1 unfair? In the last episode of Formula World, I asked if you thought F1 is unfair, and here are the results. A clear 70% of you said yes, you think F1 is unfair, while 30% still think it is a fair sport. What are your thoughts on DRS? Be sure to vote in the poll and leave a comment what you think about this or any other of today's stories. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos for all the latest in the world of Formula One.